everybody, welcome to the Fired Up with CJ show. We've been talking to Guy Finley, and I have been entertaining him with my antics. We've been talking about his book, The Secret of Letting Go. And in the last segment, we were talking about how um, COVID is part of something that is naturally emerging. It's called mutual dependency, right? And how it actually our pain. We're given an opportunity with COVID. It's like a pressure cooker that is allowing our pain that we have stuffed down for such a long time to release and emerge. And I love what you said at the closing that we can either surrender and learn, or basically reject the learning and just keep on stuffing it in deeper and deeper. So the COVID, in fact, is a good thing for us, which seems so strange. So I want to talk to you about mutual dependency specifically and what that. Just tell us a little bit about what that means.
I don't know where you live, CJ. I know there's flies there, but the rest I'm not sure of.
Guy just watched me for the last 5 minutes run up, get this, catch a fly, run outside, release it, and then get tormented by the one remaining fly in my studio.
So I don't know about the wildlife, but I
Yeah.
do know that you have that.
Yes.
What I said is that there is nothing that is created. And again, listen, I say this now while I'm talking to CJ, and I say it every time that I speak. I'm not suggesting that you believe a word I say. I don't even want you to believe a word I say. I want you to see whether the words I say are true through your own experience. Otherwise, it's useless. We can see with our own eyes that when we look outside and we see the world, the natural world, that there isn't one thing in the natural world that exists independently of all other things in the natural world. The trees, the leaves, the fruits, the grasses, the birds, the bees, the deer, all the animals, all the creatures exist in a beautiful web of entanglement, a natural life, an awareness that binds them together, and a nature that allows them to interact for the purpose of developing not just the individual creatures, but the whole of nature itself. And so that is what you would call mutually dependent. All individual creatures rely on every other individual creature for their existence and for completing their possibilities. The deer can't complete its possibilities without a field to run through, and perhaps without the cougar to chase it. The cougar can't complete its possibilities without a deer to chase, or the woods that it must run through. It's evident. I don't need to go into it more than that, I don't think.
Yeah.
If everything in creation is, in fact, mutually dependent upon its environment, all the content there, then why wouldn't that also be true when it comes to our pain? In order for our pain to go its natural way, it must be in relationship with all of its environment. Now, we touch on something very important here, CJ, because the deer is in the environment of the leaves, the trees, the grasses, the woods, but our pain is in the environment of our consciousness. Pain is in our consciousness, not in the conditions that we blame our pain on. Pain is in our consciousness, not in the condition we blame our pain on. We have been blaming our pain on people and circumstance for 100 million years. And for 100 million years, we have not done one thing to mitigate the continuation of the conflict born of pain being recreated, not reconciled. Why is this world the same than it was 100 years ago? Because we still don't know what to do with this pain. the COVID-19 business has merely thrust us as a humanity into a quarantined place where we are without the usual distractions that, by the way, the pain in this consciousness and the consciousness responsible for it has created. Why in God's name do people live? I don't know about you, and I hope that, well, I don't care if I'm alienating anybody, honestly. You go out to, I don't, could make no difference to me. I tell the truth. Why do you go out to dinner and you see a family of 5 people sitting there, nobody talking, everybody's face plowed into their personal device, looking to see something that stimulates them about something someone said or where they can go or what they did, someone else's life, voyeurs, men and women only concerned with what they're being stimulated by in the moment, because if I can stay stimulated, I don't have to deal with the suffering that's driving me to seek that stimulation outside of myself.
Yeah, I get it. And I get it and I do it and I understand it. But
Yeah,
usually
I
not
mean,
at the time.
well, that's why we're talking about this. We're not judging ourselves. I'm certainly not sitting in judgment of anyone. We are literally, as human beings, to one extent or another, well, actually, in every meaning of the word, we're in training here. We're in training. The question is, how willing am I to allow the moment to reveal to me what has been concealed within me up until that point?
Okay, so I want to go into real life scenarios. So, someone has lost their job or afraid of losing their job because of COVID. So there's pain in their consciousness,
Right.
and they're sitting in the pain of incredible loss of livelihood. So I understand that COVID is here to shape us and help us let go of the pain. But in that particular, maybe what would you describe as in our consciousness when you're worried about financial stability, my health and wellness, like, because there's all these debates on whether I should go to work, even if it actually could result in my physical death. So, what's in our consciousness that drives that, and how can we embrace this time when it's scary?
I have 3 comments. Number, if you were looking for a treasure and you knew it was buried someplace in a very dangerous place, treasure meaning a certain confidence, a certainty, a sense of wellness that everything's going to be okay. That would be the treasure. If I was looking for that and I knew I needed a guide, which even though we're not aware of it, what are our thoughts doing? I'm sitting here, what am I going to do? And along comes the thought, well, let's try this. I don't think that works because of that. You're right. Well, what about that? And so we have this almost endless, incessant dialogue with our own mind, appearing in different forms and images to tell us where to go, what to do in order to escape the pain that our same mind is telling us awaits us. So would you go into a bar filled with men and women who had white-tipped canes, and I say, I'm looking for someone to guide me to find this treasure? Or would you, walking in there, realize, well, everybody has a white-tipped cane. Obviously, this is a room of blind guides. I've walked into the wrong bar. So you and I, we do not see that when pain is guiding us, it is not guiding us to the resolution of our suffering. It is guiding us back through a circle of suffering, because that's all pain knows to do. Pain cannot free us from pain, period. Fear cannot free us from fear, period. So how do I, as a man or a woman who begins to understand that fear and pain and worry and doubt aren't just false guides, they're false gods in the moment where they appear and I turn to them to lead me out of Egypt to the promised land. Clearly, they don't know Bubkas. Why would I bring myself into relationship with him if I knew that? If we get that, then it begs this question. Well, how do I know the nature of this thought? Because all I normally know is that uh, uh, suddenly I can't go to work. I've been a waiter or a waitress. I've been in some service position, and the service is temporarily canceled, or they've let go of most of the people there. What am I supposed to do? Part two. Write this down, listeners. Do what is in your power and refuse to do what is not. Do what is in your power and refuse to do what is not. If I could remember that guideline, then when I'm sitting at home and I'm looking at my checking account, I've run through my government stimulus check or whatever it is that is tiding me over. I'm looking at bills that aren't stopping just because everything else has stopped. I'm afraid. What is the nature of my fear in that moment? My mind is projecting to me what's going to happen to me 30 days from now, 60 days from now. So I am, without knowing it, in a kind of imagination that is, by definition, negative. Forget whether or not it's given that that's what's going to happen, because that's what this nature does. It wants you to know this is the only possibility. Therefore, you have a binary response: fight or flight. That's all you've got, guy. Fight. Go to work and defy the government because you're a right-wing conservative, or accede to the government because you want to be, left and woke and all the rest of that. Binary response. Fear, anxiety, or worry never says to the person momentarily occupied with it, it never says, I wonder what else I can give my attention to in this moment that isn't fight or flight. And here's the one thing that consciousness will never say to us, because now bringing in do what's in our power, refuse to do what's not. It's not in my power to change the government. Even if I join a power group, whatever it is, that men and women, we have all these ideas that if we just do this or the other, we're going to change the system. The men and women have been doing that for 5,000 years. And the system is more convoluted and corrupt than ever before because it's incestuous. Thought and that nature that seeks to resolve its own pain, it's incestuous. It just finds the next iteration of something that promises to relieve the pain but secretly perpetuates it. So what does thought never say to you? It never says, why don't you sit back for a moment, get as quiet as you can, and see what it's like to experience this consciousness? What would it be like to be aware of this fear instead of serving it? What would it be like to be aware of this anger and frustration instead of letting it tell you who you are and what to do? Because in that moment, CJ, and I know we've got to close this section up, what's happened? I'm doing what's in my power. And what's in my power in that moment is to realize the fear, the anxiety is in my consciousness long before it's in the condition being blamed for it. So I'm going to return home, the true prodigal son, the interior meaning of the story. I'm going to return back into the basic awareness of these opposites and allow the awareness to be my teacher.
But
Then,
okay, let the
well,
awareness be the guide, and then
then I am allowing the only power I have. I can't change you. I'm not going to change my boss. I'm not going to change the economy. I'm allowing something new to be revealed about someone that I don't know in myself,
Mm.
the high side and the low side. Because now I get to see, you know what? I know this is the right thing. Get quiet. Let's wake up. Let's watch. Nothing in me wants to do that. It just wants to go and figure this out, because it wants to be safe. Fear does not want you to be safe. You want to write something down, people? Fear has no interest in safety. Fear is interested, as are all other creatures, in the perpetuation of its character.
Mm.
And when we let fear be our guide, it will guide us into more fearful situations where we will never escape that consciousness. We transcend the consciousness. We don't change the conditions it blames its pain on.
Mm.
And the transcending of it is through the awareness of it.
Mm. Okay, so there are three steps. One is not basically, what was the first step? The first step was treasure. Everything is going to be okay, right? So actually, it's recognizing that everything is going to be okay. Just kind of going into that state. Two, being conscious of what is coming into your thought: anger, anxiety, fear of survival, fear of scarcity, whatever it is. Be conscious of what is in your thought and do what is in your power and refuse to do what is not. So you can't change the government. You can't change, you can't solve the problem from the same place it came, right? So assuming that you can solve fear with fear, worry with worry, not going to happen. But if you can actually just be still, and I think this is your third step, be aware, go into awareness. That's
Look,
basically how
either
you get there.
either we're talking about a true dynamic shift in our attention and the experience it produces.
Mm-hmm.
Either I am a child of the divine or I am not. Either I am given everything I need to further that relationship or I am not given it. If I understand the idea that everything is okay now, but I do that as a resistance to the feeling I have that it's not okay, then I'm caught in this resistance. But if I can see my own consciousness stirring the pot, actually giving me something to worry about, then that awareness of that consciousness belongs to a consciousness that cannot be captured by anything.
Mm.
That's what we're after. The recognition and realization of another level of awareness that cannot be made the captive of a lower consciousness. That's all I have to do. Watch. Be still. Know that I am God. All these ideas are connected to a resolution born of a revelation.
Mm.
Can I watch instead of be dragged into yet another round of trying to save my bacon and wind up in the frying pan instead of safe and free? That's simple.
Mm. Mm. Okay, so I want to talk to you in the last segment, if we could, about other kind of challenges that people are having and how doing these three steps of being in total faith and then also transcending some of the negative emotions that come up, what the results have been with people who've attended your workshop and your Monday and Wednesday event. So you have on Wednesday at 7 o'clock, Sundays at 9:30 in the morning, and then also on June 19th to 22nd. On the Friday and Wednesdays, you have free talks that people can join. You can find them on our
Right, free.
website.
They're free online stream talks. Everyone's welcome. Nothing to join.
Okay, and then June 19th to 22nd are some
Yes,
other events that you're having. So thank you so much for being here.
you're welcome, CJ.
42:34. Can we go on a little bit longer? Do you have the time?
Yeah, what do you need?
Oh, can we just do another segment?
Oh, sure.
Okay. I've yet to see that damn fly. It came in buzzing at one point and then it flew away. Okay,
No,
40.
actually, I've been trying trying to keep my laugh down. It's been sitting on the very top of your head the whole time
Are you
we talked.
joking?
Yes, I am.
You're bad. You're very bad.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. Would love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.